If you're running an e-commerce or retail SaaS company somewhere in the 5 to $100 million range, you have probably spent the last year trying to figure out how to actually use AI, not just as a checkbox on your feature page or a chatbot on the right sidebar of your platform, but an AI that actually moves the needle, revenue, retention, and competitive positioning. When you look at your product and you look at what AI could actually do for your customers, the math is obvious. A single AI powered capability could easily add a few $100,000 in ARR, if not more. And the numbers aren't the hard part, but the hard part is why it hasn't shipped yet. And that's what I'm going to break down in this video. There are three specific ways AI initiatives fail for SaaS companies, and we'll talk about what actually works. Then I'll walk you through a real example, a full strategic breakdown that we published for OmniSend, where we mapped out exactly what we would build for them if they were a client. You'll see exactly how we think, work, and what we deliver. I'm Rohan Sawant. I run Ionio. We are a specialized AI consultancy that exclusively works with retail and e-commerce SaaS platforms. Over the last 5 years, we have worked with over 45 plus companies. We have built 40 plus products, and not just features, entire platforms. And I'm not just saying this to say it. You can see all our case studies on our site. For Supplier HQ, e-commerce SaaS, we built the MVP in about 8 weeks. Then we scaled it to thousands of paying customers. It made 3 times ROI on development in the first month. For Dontus, one of our clients, we built a ecom AI MVP in 3 weeks, where he reported 50 times ROI on development. His words, not mine. For Gleek, we engineered a custom voice AI onboarding product under 2 months. Since going live, their key KPI, intake volume, has increased by 100%. We built the Pumice MVP, a retail product classification platform that completely replaced manual teams for retail companies. Scaled it to 2 million daily operations. It added another six-figure ARR revenue stream to an existing business. For Dispute Dial, a company in the F&B retail space, we built an autonomous revenue recovery platform in just 8 weeks. It eliminated the manual dispute filing process and clawed back an average of 2.5K in lost revenue per restaurant per month across dozens of locations. For a European retail company preparing to IPO, we built a conversation infrastructure to support millions of users. We shipped multiple proprietary features quarters ahead of the industry standard. More on all of this later, but now let me show you why most AI initiatives, specifically at SaaS companies, fail and what we do differently. From the outside, your company probably looks fine. You are growing, maybe not as fast as you once were, but marketing is booking demos. Your AEs are closing some of them. But when buyers compare you to the other 9 platforms on their list, you have some pros and some cons, mid-tier pricing, but nothing that makes you the obvious choice. You're not losing because the product is bad or missing features. You're losing deals because nothing makes you unmistakably different. And everyone's answer to this right now is to just do AI, but just slapping a bunch of AI features on a SaaS doesn't really work anymore. It's not 2023. But what changes the game is one AI powered capability that generates revenue for your customers and makes the product harder to leave. And let me make this concrete. You have probably already ran these numbers in your head. If you're a email marketing platform, imagine building an AI powered email designing tool that cuts design time by 8x, which generates on brand emails in minutes. And if you are in the email marketing space, you know that something like this is very possible, but none of the major platforms have launched it yet. Run the numbers for 2,000 customers at a $125 per month add on. Even if 15% users upgrade, that's 300 customers paying an extra $125 every single month. That's roughly $37,000 in additional MRR, about $500,000 a year. Apply a conservative 5x multiple, and you have just created $2 million in enterprise value. And at least half that, if even if all the numbers here are completely off, right? So if the math is so obvious, why hasn't this really happened yet? Why haven't you shipped it yet? And for most platforms in your position that we speak with, they have already taken one swing at AI, and the pattern is always the same. Here's what everyone tries first. Companies try building AI internally. Someone on the teams comes up with the AI feature. Your engineer says that they can handle it. You greenlight the project, and in about 3 to 4 months, the version 1 ships. It technically works, but you know in the hearts of your hearts that your users are actually never going to ever use it, because nobody did competitive research to know if this was the right feature. Nobody designed the pricing, nobody mapped out the adoption path, and nobody measured whether it actually moved churn or conversion. The feature exists, you have AI, but the revenue doesn't change. 2 quarters, 6 figures gone, and the board asks, hey, you tried AI, what happened? Here's the second way we have seen AI implementations fail at SaaS companies. So, after a very exciting weekend, CEOs come on Monday and announce AI as the next strategic priority. But 3 months later, your best engineers are still on the core product, stability integrations, and BFCM prep. The AI initiative eventually gets delegated to a junior hire on a borrowed sprint and whatever budget was left after the Q3 planning. And again, the internal engineering team is not bad or incapable. They are just buried under existing workload, bug fixes, and the must have features that are demanded by users. So, what ships is functional but forgettable. Merchants don't notice it, and the churn doesn't move. The initiator quietly dies on a feature list, but nobody checks upon it. AI treated like an add on forms like one. After these, here's a third that a company's try. You bring in an external ML engineer or a contractor, someone ex Google, ex Fang, ex OpenAI, whatever, and then they just build what you spec. But you also needed competitive intelligence, product strategy, proper monetization pipeline and design, so that the technology is not just built, but it is also rolled out. You hired for one role when you actually needed five capabilities. And 6 months, a headcount later, you're just looking externally again and just trying to repeat that same cycle. Here's what you need to understand: an AI capability that works is a strategy, engineering, and revenue problem all at once. That's what we built Ionio to do. So we handle the entire problem from the strategy, the engineering, and the monetization, because that's the way this actually ever works. We have spent the last 5 years building SaaS platforms ourselves, scaling products from zero to multiple millions in revenue, competing against players with more features, more funding. You can see again all our case studies somewhere here. But we took everything we learned and we focused it entirely on retail and e-com. That's all we do now. So what does this actually look like for you? Your platform stops being one of the 9 options on a spreadsheet. It becomes the obvious choice in your category. Your churn drops because merchants can't get your specific capability anywhere else. You go from a competitive option to a preferred vendor, and you get all of this in a single quarter. 2 to 3 months, maybe four, depending on the scope. Not 18 months of hiring, ramping up false starts, and roadmap battles and just starting over. You get all of this built by an AI team that actually publishes research, not just wrapper builds, from engineers who have shipped production AI since 2017. And you get the monetization and rollout expertise of executives who have done SaaS pricing and GTM at $20 million plus levels. And you get all of this at a performance based pricing model with success fees that trigger only if we hit key milestones, which almost always are revenue increases. We work with fewer than 5 clients at a time. If you hire us, we'll be working together very closely. We follow a 3 step process. Stage one is where we figure out exactly what to build and, more importantly, what not to build. We book and we get on demo calls with your competitors. We talk to your customers and this. We pull every piece of public intelligence, financials, hiring trends, product changes, Reddit threads, positioning, demo videos, launch videos, like everything. We map what's commoditized, what's missing, and where the money actually is. As of recording this, we are also in the process of building and rolling out our own advisory network full of e commerce operators, brand owners, agencies, retention specialists, and people who have worked inside and with Shopify, Klaviyo, Recharge, and all of the major e-commerce platforms in your space. Engineers from retail who have managed 500,000 SKUs. Product leaders from SaaS companies. And what this gives us is an extraordinary edge, something no agency or internal team can replicate on a 2 or 3 month project timeline. On demand access to people who actually buy, use, and evaluate platforms like yours every day. If we need to understand how a specific buyer in your category thinks, we are talking to the right person within a day. I just hit them up on WhatsApp. And what you get at the end of stage one is a complete strategy and execution roadmap. And of course, not some chat GPT generated document, not that, but a very specific plan which has analyzed the entire market space, found gaps, and the very specific wedge that we would be driving, that we would be building, and why it will win. Stage two is the actual build, the development. For us, the easiest part. I have been in AI since 2017. Our engineering team has, as I said, published research on everything from quantization benchmarks, model merging, to author style steering. You can read them on our site. Our team includes engineers who have gone to lead AI projects at Microsoft Research, JP Morgan, and some even became CTOs of funded startups themselves. You can see 75 plus deeply technical articles full of code samples on our site, timestamped months, if not quarters, before things became mainstream. You can see the models that we have published along with how many times they have been downloaded on Hugging Face. You can see our GitHub repos. All of that is public. In this stage, we develop and integrate the capability directly inside your platform. This typically takes us 6 to 8 weeks. What you get is production ready, built to handle your scale, including evals, monitoring, logs, and stress testing, complete with full documentation. Stage three is what separates us from every agency and dev shop in the market. They just build a feature and walk away. We don't. We work with your internal team, ex VPs of revenues from SaaS companies, pricing specialists, and combined with our own years of expertise in direct response and SaaS monetization to figure out how to price this, position it, and get users to the aha moment in the first 60 seconds. Dev shops don't think about pricing and monetization. Consultancies don't think about adoption. Internal teams are just buried under workload. What we bring to the table is our foresight, our track record, and even the audacity and conviction. Because our outcome is not building a feature, it's revenue optimization. Once the functionality is live, we do a complete handover to the internal teams with full documentation. We don't have any forced long term contracts or lock ins or retainers. We stay available for months after launch for support and just like knowledge transfer. We have worked with our clients across multiple years. You can see our testimonials for that. The OmniSend breakdown that I mentioned earlier, you can find the full documentation linked below somewhere. You'll see every step of how we think, work, implement things. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. You can find a detailed FAQ section right below this video. If you're watching this, we will probably end up speaking in about 6 to 8 months. That's usually how it goes. I have probably already emailed you. If you want to skip ahead, you can go book a call. You'll find the link there or somewhere. That's it. I'm Rohan Sawant. I I would love to work with you. Thanks. Bye bye.